June 12, 1994, the most famous murder in American history took place. The trial of the century that captivated the world. The most investigated crime of all time, still with no resolution, remains unsolved. And today, it was confirmed that there will never be a resolution. The crime of OJ Simpson allegedly murdering his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman, an extremely passionate and grisly murder done by a human with intense rage and uncontrollable strength, cutting the woman he claimed to love so deeply across her neck that he nearly decapitated her, and stabbing her friend Ron Goldman 25 times until he died. Overkill, if you ask me. Leaving them both behind in a pool of blood and a mountain of evidence against him. That was almost exactly 30 years ago, and now today marks the end of the saga finally, because OJ Simpson has met his fate and died. Giving this tragic tale a very sad end that there will never be justice for Nicole, Ron, or their families, because OJ Simpson, until the day he died, never ever confessed. So he technically died an innocent man. And that is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my whole life. So I want to look at the creative ways OJ got away with it during the trial, the creative way he lied to people over the next 30 years of his life after the trial, because he would get asked every single day and he kept lying in such crazy ways even after the trial was said and done. And if he would have gotten away with it today, because he really pulled a Viola Davis how to get away with murder now that he has died an innocent man. But before we get into it, I am Patty Pop Culture, the professor here at Pop Culture University, where you learn everything going on in the world of pop culture. You should enroll here and become a student by subscribing, and you should be a teacher's pet. Make sure you're doing everything Professor Patty wants you to do, like liking the video, comment. Let's get it to 3,000 comments. Okay, so 2 days ago, OJ Simpson finally died at the age of 76 from prostate cancer. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wished anything like that upon him, but I will say dying at 76 is much better than dying at 25 or 35 like his victims. He was living on borrowed time, 50 years more than Ron Goldman. Justice was never served. He lived longer than the average man even does, so it's not like God cut his time short at all. But you know, at least OJ can finally rest easy knowing that his wife's murderer has finally died. OJ's family said, "Our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer today. He was surrounded by his children and his grandchildren, aka the members of his family that he did not murder. During this time of transition, his family asked that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace." Gypsy Rose said, "There can only be one free murderer walking around, and it's me now that I'm out of jail, OJ, so you gotta go." We got some pretty interesting reactions. Ron Goldman's family said that it was no great loss to the world. That is fucking crazy, because usually, like, after you die, people pretend like you're some nice, amazing, incredible human being on this earth. Even if you were a total bitch that no one liked, they'll still be nice to you in your eulogy, but you know you're a terrible person when people cannot even have anything nice to say about you after you die. Caitlyn Jenner said, "Good riddance." I mean, Caitlyn is not one to mince words. She was there present at the trial with Kris Jenner. I feel like this is a really hard day for Kris Jenner too, because probably just brings up every emotion in the world, because now this kind of gives a feeling of totality to her, because OJ Simpson has finally died, put a period at the end of the sentence, but her ex-husband got him the innocent verdict, and people conspirize that that weighed on him so heavily and kind of like ruined the rest of his life and maybe, you know, caused some part of his demise. It's very sad. And obviously Nicole Brown Simpson was very close with Kris Jenner, so she lost her best friend. Shout out to Kris Jenner. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for you. Anytime she talks about it, she gets so tensed up. And of course, the rumor that everyone thinks OJ Simpson and Kris Jenner had an affair and Khloe Kardashian is his real daughter. That is just so beyond crazy to me. It would be actually if OJ's daughter didn't look a lot like Khloe, because that is fucking suspicious. It's giving spitting image. So you know what? I'm not gonna add a comment to her comment section like everyone is doing right now, saying my condolences about your dad. Oh no, your real dad died. I'm so sorry, Khloe. But you know, let's just say OJ is a known liar, so maybe there was something going on there. I kind of had a feeling of sadness when I found out he died. I don't know why. Students, I woke up that morning and I saw the news, and well, at like 2 p.m. I woke up and I saw the news and I was like, It was sad to hear. And I was confused why I felt sad at first. Maybe just because he's such a big part of the zeitgeist and his legacy is very a mixed bag of emotions. But I think I realized that I was mostly sad just because this puts a period on the end of the sentence and will never, ever, ever get justice for Ron and Nicole. I think I felt sad for them. I was holding out that one day he would do the morally right thing and confess. I really thought the end of his life, like the last thing he would say is a confession, but he didn't. I thought he would be hearing that flat line start, like beep, 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 and he'd be like, I did it. Or have a Chanel #2 moment where he dies, comes back, tweets, I did it, and then dies again. He loves Twitter. He loves TikTok. Even on his TikTok, he like trolls Gen Z because he loves his huge fans for the murder that he committed, and he loves to give people the bad guy, you know, he was a bad girl, he did some bad things, Jojo Siwa vibes. He was so weird his whole life denying that he did that murder, yet at the same time also kind of admitting that he did that murder. Such a strange man. But the gag is that he died with no penance. So I did not know what penance was because I'm not like super Christian like that, but like mad respect to the Christians. But it's a thing that Christians can do right before they die to like find a loophole to go to heaven. A Christian sacrament in which a member of the church confesses sins to a priest and is given absolution. I didn't even look up what absolution is, but I think it's just like no matter what you did, if you like, you know, give a shout out to God right before you die, you can go to heaven and he'll let you in. He didn't even do that. And I love a bitch who commits to the bit. I will give him that. He committed to that damn bit until the day he died. But it did fill me with sadness because there was a like mountain of evidence against him. And he really does have the How to Get Away with Murder playbook. Although, of course, it was very nuanced, very complex. And they weren't really putting OJ Simpson on the trial. They were putting racism on the trial. And that's why I'm not like completely 100% mad that he got away with it. I do kind of agree with like, okay, that's kind of a vibe that he got off. Not in the criminal way, like it's not on his criminal record. He won the criminal trial. He eventually lost a civil trial and he had to pay the Goldman family $33 million. Shout out to the Goldman family. They really ate him up. But I will say, I wish he just confessed, you know? I wish he got away with it, but also confessed. Because basically the number one way he got away with it in the court system was the glove not fitting his hand. But his prosecutors are an evil genius because you know the famous line, if it does not fit, you must acquit. His prosecutors are so smart because they allegedly asked him to stop taking his arthritis medication, which led to his hands swelling up so they wouldn't fit in the glove. So that's kind of how he got away with it, but it's so insane. Here's the list of evidence that proves he should have not died an innocent man by any means. So there was 3 people's blood found at the crime scene, a very grisly, disgusting, sad crime scene that I seriously cannot believe there's just photos of on the internet. I'm not going to show the worst ones, but you guys, like he would have never gotten away with it today because the DNA evidence found at the scene proves that there is a 1 in 170 million chance that it was anyone else besides him. And there was only 3 people's blood found at the scene, Nicole's, Ron's, and OJ's. And which one of them do you think was the killer? It's like the easiest game of Clue in the whole fucking world. Like that game is made for 3-year-olds to 8-year-olds and even they can figure it out. His blood was the only one found there besides theirs. Blood from Nicole and Ron were found in his car, found on a sock at his house. And they also reran the DNA from that years after technology became available and proved that there's a 1 in 21 billion chance that it is anyone else's blood except his. There was hair found from an African-American man on the scene that matches OJ's hair. There were shoes at the scene that matched an exact pair of shoes that OJ had. There was a knife that they think he used that OJ was found buying a few weeks before the murder happened. Nicole repeatedly, very tragically, made a lot of phone calls about the domestic abuse that she faced with him. But not just that, the fact that she thought he would kill her.
911 emergency. Can you get someone over here now to 325 Gretna Green? He's back. Please. Okay, what does he look like? He's OJ Simpson. I think you know his record. Could you just send somebody over here? Okay, what is he doing there? He just drove up again. He just drove somebody over? Okay, wait a minute, what kind of car is he in? He's in a white Bronco.
Kris Jenner even said that Nicole told her before that if something happens to her, OJ did it. And I love, like, this is like not funny, but it's just such a cultural thing. I feel like just as a Gen Z, I've removed myself from it because this all happened before I was born, yet I'm such a, like, inquirer about this whole crime scene. I'm not going to say I'm a fan because I don't fan over killers like that, like those thirsty girls who think Ted Bundy is sexy. It's just interesting that like all other celebrities have talked about it. Ariana Grande said her mom every Halloween used to take blood and smear it on the wall and write OJ did it on their wall as if it's like a Halloween decoration.
My mom had to like repaint the walls of our house once because she smeared fake blood all over the walls and wrote OJ did it.
The whole thing is just really crazy, and it just made me sad that he died, truly. But I will say, like, he did it. I'm not gonna say allegedly. He did it. He killed them. He was a murderer that walked away scot-free. I saw OJ Simpson at Target once, I swear, and it was the scariest moment of my life. Would you want to be in a room alone with OJ Simpson where no one can hear your screams? Would you feel safe? No, because he truly is just that evil, scary type of person. But Nicole would often say that she thought OJ was going to kill him, going to kill her. OJ even told Nicole that he could kill her and get away with it because he's OJ Simpson. But the gag is that 20% of people who are alive today still believe OJ's innocent. Honestly, I want to give him his like round of applause. Like, the fact that I even have to say allegedly still, and the fact that we even have to question that there's a shadow of a doubt because the fucked up legal system found him innocent is just so crazy to me. Like, he truly got away with it because we cannot say 100% if he did it, even though we totally can at the same time. So 20% of people still think he's innocent. I'm dying to know if you do. Please leave a comment. So here's how he kept up the lie until the day he died and why people still think he's innocent. So obviously the gloves is like the biggest reason during the trial of how he got away with it, but he also left a suicide note the week after he did it. And in the suicide note, you would think, you know, if he's going to kill himself, he'll confess. No, he said he did not do it. And if he ever did anything to Nicole, or if he hypothetically was the person that did it, it's because he loved Nicole and it was very passionate and they were just having problems. That's crazy. I don't think that would make me feel loved. I don't think that's how I show my love. That's very insane. And he also wrote in this note, they are out there somewhere. The killer is out there somewhere. Whatever it takes to identify them and bring them in, I will provide somehow. He was like Sherlock Holmes trying to find the killer, but it's like a dog chasing its tail. It's you. He can never find the killer because, girl, take your finger and point it in the mirror. And then a few years later, he said, to keep up the lie, he would avoid LA. He would avoid LA because he was scared the killer was after him. The real killer would find him someday if he went to LA. And there are a lot of mirrors in LA. So I totally believe him there. But people think he actually wanted to avoid LA so he can avoid the civil case where he owed the Goldman family a lot of money. That's more so what probably happened. The civil case was in 1997. In the 1990s, if anyone would ask him if he did it, which he said people would ask him every single day, he would tell them that no, and he's going to find the killer himself. He is going to bring them to the highest court of the land and turn them in. In the early 2000s, to prove how obsessed he was with Nicole, further proving like why maybe he would want to kill her, he got a girlfriend who looked exactly like her, and apparently she would say how obviously obsessed he was with her. He asked his new girlfriend, Christy Prati, to get a boob job to look more like Nicole, to dress more like Nicole, wear her hair like Nicole. She said, quote, it was always back about Nicole. He'd always bring her up. It was a nonstop issue with him. That's the lifestyle we led, where everything that happened was basically about her. And he told this girlfriend, he never confessed to this girlfriend, his new girlfriend, not once, which is so crazy because, like, that's your partner of life. He never confessed to her. She said, but he basically would admit that he did it because he would always reiterate how Nicole was asking for it. She deserved it. The new girlfriend said he stated that very often, that she was asking for it and she deserved it. And until the day he died, I don't think he felt bad. I don't think he wanted to confess. He would make TikToks like making a joke about it all up until 2023. In the early 2000s, in preparation for his book, If I Did It, that is the closest thing we ever got to a confession from him, he said, quote, to keep the lie up, I know what happened, but I can't tell you exactly how. I know what you're thinking. Everybody's innocent. The prisons are filled with guys who didn't do shit, but that's my point. Half of you think I did it, and nothing will ever make you change your minds. The other half of you know I didn't do it, and all the evidence in the world, planted or otherwise, isn't going to sway you either. So he's still living off the idea that someone planted the evidence against him, which isn't a bad it got him the innocent verdict, so good for him. In September 2007, his book came out called If I Did It, and this is just the craziest moment of all time. And this is basically his confession, but he wanted to add the if in the beginning because he wanted to leave a little bit of a gray area for his kids, apparently. In 2006, publisher Judith Reagan announced that she would publish a book by OJ Simpson through Reagan Books. Reagan claimed that Simpson's legal team contacted her in a 2006 interview, which became public in 2018. She said, quote, "I received a phone call from an attorney who said that OJ was ready to confess. Finally, potentially just a few years before he's gonna die. And actually, I thought it was some kind of scam and I didn't believe him. And I thought, this guy's a lunatic. But I took his number and said I'd call him back. The next day, I called him back and he said he was willing to do it. But only on one condition that he had was that he didn't want to call the book I Did It. He wanted to put an if in front of it so he would have deniability with his children. He couldn't face his children and couldn't tell them that he had done it. That was the way he portrayed it to me. That was his only condition." It's interesting that OJ wanted to confess to me. I'm not sure if he wanted to do it just for moral reasons or he's just wanted to get it off of his chest to ease a little bit of his own conscience. But also, how are you going to admit to your kids that I killed your mom? That's so crazy. But in this confession interview where he kept saying, if I did it, it's hypothetical. It is the craziest interview of all time.
And this guy kind of got into a karate thing. And I said, well, you think you can kick my ass? And I remember I grabbed a knife. I do remember that portion, taking a knife from Charlie. And to be honest, after that, I don't remember. Except I'm standing there and there's all kind of stuff around and
what kind of stuff?
Blood and stuff around. I hate to say this, but this is hypothetical. I'm sorry. Right. I know we got to back up again.
Right. You write about removing a glove before taking the knife from Charlie.
I had no conscious memory of doing that, but obviously I must have because they found a glove there.
The interview didn't originally air.
In the book, you described taking off your shoes, your pants, and your shirt and dropping it in a bundle. Do you remember that?
Yes.
About the chapter in the book covering the murders, it says, "The chapter covering the night of the murders depicts Simpson saying he was going to scare the shit out of Nicole Brown before going to her condo and seeing Goldman, at which point Simpson said, hypothetically, he grabbed a knife and blacked out, adding, I know what happened, but I can't tell you how, saying the front of him was covered in blood when he looked down and saw Goldman and Brown not moving." So in this book, he walks you through exactly what he did that night. And he's saying hypothetically the whole time, if I did it, this is what I would have done. But he's using the term hypothetically wrong. Hypothetical means in a world where you are imagining that you did something or a not true, not recalled events. It's almost like future preemptive, this has not happened. But the context in which he's using the term hypothetical is completely wrong. He only has to keep saying that so he can have plausible deniability for his kids, but he is saying in first person, I did this, I did that, then I went and did that. And even in the interview, not even a part of the book, where he's promoting the book, he's not saying, this character I played in the book where I hypothetically did it, that character that did this, that character did this, as if he's J.K. Rowling writing a book. That would make sense if he was talking about a character. But in this interview, he kept saying, so this is what I did, and then I was covered in blood, and then I stabbed him, and then I came to the gate, and then I went home and took off my clothes, as if he's character acting, as if he's method acting a character, as if in this interview he is still playing the character that he wrote in the book. He's using the term hypothetical wrong completely. He wanted to confess, and that moment in 2006 was him confessing. The only hypothetical loophole he threw in the book was adding a fake character. So he's really being an author, and he's adding a fake character named Charlie. He said there was this character named Charlie that he committed the crime with, but there was only 3 people's DNA found at that crime scene, so Charlie was not there. But he said Charlie brought the knife, he took the knife from Charlie, and then he committed the crimes. But I think Charlie is OJ. I think Charlie is the demonic parasite within him that gave him the nerve, gall, and rage to kill Nicole. And when he blacks out, he goes into Charlie mode. Like that movie Split, where the guy's like, that wasn't me, it was Patricia. He's like, that wasn't me, it was Charlie. When he's talking about Charlie, I'm like, is Charlie in the room with us right now? But throughout the rest of his life, he kept denying it in creative ways. Again, in 2021, he said he avoids LA. He said, quote, I have trouble with LA. People may think this is self-serving, but I might be sitting next to whoever did it. I really don't know who did this. Girl, be so fucking for real. It's time to be real. Did you get the notification on your phone, OJ? It's time to be real. In an interview in 2021, he said, you know, you have to look to learn. I figured eventually someone would confess to it. We did too, OJ. We did too, until you decided to die on us without a confession. And finally, the day of his death, a source familiar with the family has denied rumors that he made a confession on his deathbed about the killings, and he never did. And of course, he died without penance. So the secret died with him. Him and his truth, they sit in silence. But his truth was that he did it. So yeah, students, that's the motherfucking tea. And the murder case of the century has finally come to a definitive close. Oh my God, I was texting my mom about it and she was like, OJ should be worried if there's a such thing as hell, because that's definitely where he's going. And I'm like, oh, she clocked the tea. All right, you guys, well, thank you for joining me today at Pop Culture University, or like my YouTube channel, whatever. But subscribe to become a student here and keep learning what's going on in pop culture, and like the video and comment. And yeah, I appreciate all y'all. The podcast, we're gonna talk about it more. Pop Culture University, Instagram, TikTok, Petty Pop Culture. Just get all the branches of the university. Go and follow it everywhere. All right, you guys, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Mwah.